Hello. We got a big pile. If you can't tell, it's very dark outside, so this is somewhat questionable lighting for filming this video, but we're gonna do it anyways. Hello, my name is Roxanne, also known as Bye Bun. I'm a mixed media artist, illustrator, and recent book girly. I'm trying to put the book content in their own videos so that you guys are not being force-fed book content in my art videos. So if you're not into book stuff, skip this video and I'll see you next week for another one. Let's talk about what I'm reading in February. And of course, at the time that I'm filming this, it is actually already February 6th, but it's fine. We're gonna do it anyways because I have a pretty ambitious stack of books that I'm trying to tackle this month, and I'm very excited about a number of them. So I wanted to just like take a minute to pause and talk about them in their own little video. I did recently post a reading vlog video, so you can go ahead and check that out if you want. That footage was old. That was from like November, me mostly reading Iron Flame. Hello, Dante. Yes, I see you, puppy. Yes. So I'm a little bit behind as far as filming my book content, but it's just I've got a lot of stuff going on. If you can't tell, my house behind me is a hot mess because we are in the process of moving. I haven't really been that focused on like picking up the camera and filming when I'm reading or talking about book stuff because I've just had a lot of stuff going on, and reading books is my way of unwinding and relaxing, and sometimes I don't want to pick up a camera and document it. I'm excited about this massive pile of stuff here for the month of February. Okay, where do I even begin? Let's talk about the books that I am currently reading out of this pile. I have 3 books sort of in progress, one of which is part of a buddy read that I'm doing. Another one is part of a readathon that I'm participating in this month, which I'm really excited about, which is another reason why I wanted to film this video so that you guys could hear about this readathon and maybe join in before, you know, before February is over. How do I organize this? Blah. We're gonna start with this one because I am in the process of reading it. It is Love, Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I just finished the Dreamland Billionaire. Okay, Dante, would you please lay down? Thank you. I just finished the Dreamland Billionaire series by the same author. That was actually part of my January reads. I blew through Terms and Conditions and Final Offer. That's book 2 and 3 of the series. I read both of those last month, cranked through them. I don't know what it is about Lauren Asher's writing style or this particular series of books that she does, but it's just like a fun, easy, cozy romance read. And it's one of those things too where I could have it in my giant pile of books, pick it up, read a little bit, put it down, and if I pick it back up a week later, a month later, it's very easy to just pick up where you left off. Like, it's just a really easy, mindless, and like cozy read. For some reason, this author has become my cozy read, and that's what those Dreamland Billionaire series books were for me, was like my cozy romance read. But I'm particularly excited to get into this one because I needed to finish. We don't need to finish. Technically, they're all interconnected standalones. But I wanted to finish the Dreamland Billionaire series first because there is some rollover of characters that happen. And in this book, it happens in a small town, Lake Wisteria, which is kind of where you leave off in Final Offer. A lot of Final Offer, the 3rd book in the Dreamland Billionaire series, happens in the same location. So it was really fun to go from that book and then roll right into this one. This is also her newest one. This is gonna be its own series, the Lakefront Billionaire series. I think a 2nd book is coming out later this year for this. At least I think that's what I remember seeing on Goodreads. I don't know. It's just a fuzzy, cozy, good time. I think it's a, like, I wouldn't say enemies to lovers, but like childhood friends, second chances, somewhat enemies to lovers trope thing going on here. Small town, the small town of Lake Wisteria is delightful, and you get to know it and get a feel for it a little bit in Final Offer. So far I am enjoying this. The one downside with these is that, like, why are they so big? Why are, like, do we need a romance book that's, how many pages is this? How many, it's like 500 pages or something like that. 514. Do I need a romance book that's 514 pages long? Not really, but it's fine. It's a cozy, good time. Also very spicy. There's not much spice in this yet, and I'm what, I'm 167 pages in and there's been no spice, but I know it's coming. I know it's coming. The Dreamland Billionaire series is spicy, which I'm here for the spice, so, you know. If you're not a spice person, you may want to look into look into these before you jump in if you are not a spice person. So this is kind of like my cozy romance read that is in my pile. Next up, we have Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. I just finished in January. I finished the ACOTAR series, Court of a Silver Flame. I finished in January. And then in December, I finished ACOWAR, A Court of Wings and Ruin. And I also did the novella in December, A Court of Frost and Starlight. So I did those two in December. January, I finished A Court of Silver Flame. And now here we are moving into the Throne of Glass series. I am starting with Assassin's Blade, which is the like novella. It has 3 or 4 short stories in it. Is it 3? 5. It has 5 short stories in it, following the lead character that is in the Throne of Glass series. I'm not gonna talk much more about this. You know, everyone knows what these books are. I will say though, I am buddy reading this with my friend, and I am behind on my buddy read schedule. We make schedules for our buddy reads, and then we try to read them we try to read each little chunk by a certain date. I'm having a hard time getting into this one. I like a romance subplot in my fantasy books, and I like a little spice in my life, which is probably why I always have like this on the side, you know? It's taking me a while to get into this because I'm coming off of ACOTAR, and I think I'm just realizing like this series is gonna be very different than ACOTAR. I'm just adjusting. And also just know, I don't know if I'm actually gonna finish this month. I mean, I'd like to, but I don't know. Just know that I am starting the Throne of Glass series and I'm slowly working through it. And so there will always be sort of a Sarah J. Maas book in my pile as I work through this ginormous series here. So my next book, which is one that I am currently reading and I've really put a dent in actually, is actually part of a readathon that I am participating in this month. My friend Kelsey, or Kel Sweetie, as she is known on Instagram and YouTube, I'll put links down below. She is hosting a I Love Black Horror readathon this month, which I thought was really cool. I mean, the graphics alone, like just like her illustrations, I'm gonna put something up over here. Her illustrations alone just got me really excited and like wanna participate. So I wanted to participate in her readathon, not only to support Kelsey, but also to really help diversify my TBR this month, which I'm really excited about because a couple of these books have been sitting on my TBR for a while, and they've just been things that like I keep. One book in particular, there's one book in this pile that I was really, I almost bought it. I've almost bought it and I've had it on my wish list. So this was the perfect time to bump some of these books up in my TBR, diversify my pile, and also get to know some new to me authors. And I'm really excited about it. Part of Kelsey's readathon is that she actually has like a different theme happening each week during the month of February, but I kind of disregarded the themes, sorry Kelsey, because I just kind of went for books that I really wanted to read and of course fits the horror genre. All right, first up we have Lone Women by Victor Laval. I've also heard, I don't know if it's Laval or Laval. I've seen it in different ways in interviews with the author, and he didn't correct the interviewer, so I'm not entirely sure. You might also be able to tell I picked this up from my library because I am trying to make an effort to go to my library more often. Lone Women. I started this book over the weekend and I am already like more than halfway done with it. So in like 2.5 days, I have really cranked through this thing because this book has really sucked me in. Now, hold on, I haven't finished it yet, so a lot can happen in the back half of this book here. But this is a Western horror. It's horror, but it is also a Western, which I'm kind of obsessed with. I'm starting to realize that this book might be unlocking a new genre for me, and that is Western. I mean, I do love like old Western movies, so maybe this is not like surprising that this is something that I enjoy, but I don't know. I have even tabbed this thing, which is kind of crazy, which I don't think I've ever tabbed. Have I tabbed a horror book before? Maybe a Mona Awad book. I don't think I've ever tabbed any other kind of horror thriller book previously though, so that really says something that I was motivated to like pick up my tabs and start to tab this thing. I didn't know a lot about this book going into it other than it was a horror, a Western, and it follows our lead character Adelaide, who has this trunk like that she carries around with her, and people die around her because of this trunk. And I'm just gonna leave it at that because I think part of the joy of this is that I didn't know a lot about it kind of going in, minus the little blurb. The blurb of the book kind of sucks you in. A woman with a past, a mysterious trunk, a town on the edge of nowhere, and a bracing new vision of the American West. I got sucked in right away because the lead character in this is very interesting, and someone who I'm really enjoying their perspective, their story, their point of view, you get sucked in right away. Like chapter 1 starts off with a bang, and it's one of those books where it is playing out in my mind so clearly like a movie. That's when I know it's gonna be good. But overall, I'm really enjoying this one a lot. I'm looking forward to finishing this. This has definitely been kind of the one that I keep picking up and reading the most. It's between this and Love Redesigned. I pick up Love Redesigned when I'm like, you know, have 10 minutes in between, like, you know, putting my kid down for bed or something like that. This is the one that I've been picking up and reading when I have like longer stints of time for me to actually sit and like enjoy this book and take it in. Next up, as part of the Readathon this month, we have Legendborn by Tracy Dion. This is one that's been on my TBR for a long time, and every time I've gone to like the bookstore, I've had it in my arms, I've had it in my cart, and I've put it back. I keep seeing it like in other videos and online and all that stuff. So this was the perfect opportunity for me to bump this puppy up to the top of my pile and give it a go. I actually don't know that much about it. It's a fantasy. Spooky fantasy? Dark fantasy? Magical fantasy? I don't know. It's a YA fantasy book. There's already a second one out, which is very exciting. When the shadows rise, so will the light. When blood is shed, blood will call. By the king's table for the order's might, by our eternal oaths, the line is law. I don't know, I'm here for it. It has killer reviews on Goodreads, and that is what keeps sucking me back to this book. It's like I'm like a magnet, I'm drawn to this book. The one thing that I am a little bit hesitant about is that it is YA. I actually have 2 YA books in my TBR for this month. I think the more reading I've been doing and the more like of a reader girly I have become, the more I'm realizing I'm not a big YA fan. But again, the reviews on this are just so crazy high on Goodreads, and it just seems like a good time. I don't know, again, I don't know that much about it other than I want to read it. I do have one other book that I'm doing as part of Kelsey's Readathon, which I've already started, and I'm doing as my audiobook this month, and that is The Weight of Blood, and that is by Tiffany D. Jackson. It is a Carrie retelling, and it is YA, it's YA horror, but I'm already really enjoying it. The audiobook is really great, and the format of it, of how the author has taken kind of the bones of Carrie and has, like the story bones of Carrie, and has made it her own and has turned it into a proper retelling, is really interesting. It plays very much, especially with the audiobook, kind of like a true crime podcast kind of, and that's kind of the structure of the book, is that there's like a podcast interview happening and then flashes back to our main character, who is kind of, you know, Carrie, who's basically our Carrie. So I have only just started the audiobook, but so far so good. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm glad that I picked this as my audio pick, because again, I think the format of it translates really well to audio, having that sort of true crime podcast vibe to it. I was gonna pick up the physical book, but my library did not have it. So those 3 books are part of Kelsey's Readathon. Again, super excited about it. The last 2 books in my pile are buddy reads. They are romances because it is February. I knew going into February that I wanted to be heavy on the romance picks. These are books that I've already kind of scheduled with my friend Allie. We read a lot of books together, so these were ones that were already going to be in the pile, and we knew this a couple of months ago. The first one is Wildfire by Hannah Grace. I read Icebreaker in December, and my goodness, was that a fun, spicy, good time. I enjoyed Icebreaker so much more than I ever would have imagined. Let me tell you, I loved that book. I loved that book. It was really fun. The spice was fantastic. It was like a cozy read. The characters were great. It had great representation. The story was fun, easy to follow. It was just a good time. It was just a really good time. So I'm definitely looking forward to Wildfire, again by Hannah Grace, the same author. I believe this takes place at a summer camp though. I know this is part of the same like series. It's a Maple Hills novel, but I don't think any of these characters or any characters in this were in Icebreaker. I don't know. Same kind of thing like Lauren Asher's books. They're interconnected standalones, so I think you can just read them in any order that you want. Originally, we had planned on saving, I say we because that's Allie and I. Allie and I originally planned on reading this over summer because it definitely has like summer book vibes. However, the author is coming out with another new book, I believe this April. I think, if I remember correctly. I did pre-order it already, so that's a coming. So I wanted to finish this one before the third book comes out, so that's why it got bumped up sort of in the queue. We did make a schedule for it. I've already got it all tabbed out with our chunks that we have to read. We're not starting this till February 14th though, so that gives me a little bit of time. It gives me a week to finish up some of these other ones that I sort of have in progress. I'm looking forward to this. I'm in like a romance era for sure. I don't know if it's the time of year or I just like having sort of mindless romance books around. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. Last but not least, this is a stretch. If I can actually get this book in my pile for this month, if I can actually read it, it will be a stretch, but I'm adding it to the pile because it is something that I want to get to. So if not this month, certainly next month. And that is Flawless by Elsie Silver. Everyone's talking about these damn books. Everyone is talking about this series. Same sort of thing, interconnected standalones, cowboy romance, Canadian cowboy romance, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm in my Western cowboy era? I don't know. But I've heard nothing but amazing things about this book. Again, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know anything about it beyond it's a cowboy romance and people are freaking obsessed with it. Elsie Silver is also coming out with another book later this year. They just released the cover for it. If I can remember, I'll put it on screen. I also pre-ordered that, so that has been a motivator to try to put a dent into some of these. What is this series called? The Silver, what is it? I don't even know what this series is called. Chestnut Springs. Okay, that is what has motivated me to get through the Chestnut Springs series, so we shall see. This might take the place of my Lauren Asher books. I don't know. Okay, I'm with a fresh battery in my camera now. There you have it. That is my TBR pile. Let's gather all the books. Let me put my coffee cup up there. So there you have it, my February TBR. It's rather ambitious, although again, Assassin's Blade, I don't think I'm gonna finish that this month. Flawless is just if I somehow manage to get to that, great. This is a very ambitious pile for me. We'll see. Although let's see, last month, in January, I managed to read 6 books with 1 DNF. So maybe, I'm able to get through a decent chunk of this. We shall see. I will do my best to vlog it all in my February reading vlogs. Stay tuned for that. Otherwise, I will put links to everything I mentioned down below. And I think that about does it. That's it. Okay, back to coffee and reading all the books that I probably won't get to, but I'm doing my best. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I put out a new video every week. Like this video if you liked it. Let's do a comment. Let's leave, if you made it this far, let's leave a little emoji down below. What should we leave? Something cowboy related. Are there cowboy emojis? I don't know. Something cowboy related down in the comments because I may be entering my Western era. I don't know. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.